Good morning, YouTube. My name's Matty, and I'm about to start a challenge which is going to be pretty difficult. I've been playing chess for a couple of years now, and I think it's about time I push my limits. So my rapid rating is currently around 1650, I think. Um, so pretty good, let's be honest. But I used to use this channel for 30-day challenges, so I'm going to use it now for a 30-day chess challenge. So join me on my journey. There'll be lots of blunders, I'm sure, but hopefully there'll be some insight, um, show my understanding of the game, and yeah, just see where it takes me. I'd like to be nice to get lots of views, lots of interaction, get to know other people in the community. So yeah, I'm not going to spend too long on the intro. I'm just going to play one game here and do a review after, and we'll see how it goes. So, yeah, let's jump into our first game of the challenge. So, the tricky thing for me is going to be getting my thoughts out vocally, whereas usually when I just sit at home playing chess, I don't have to speak out loud because I'm just on my own. So, yeah, um, that might be quite tricky. So, I tend to play literally just two openings. So we've got the white pieces here, which means for me, it's a queenie G. I'm a Queen's Gambit player. So let's open on to D4. Okay. So those who maybe are new to chess, um, some of the opening principles, some of the things that you want to be doing early on are controlling the centre, which black is trying to prevent me from doing here by pushing their pawn to D5. And also you want to activate pieces. So for me here, I'm thinking, I know if black takes, that's okay for black in the Queen's Gambit accepted. Could just develop my bishop, could develop my knight from B1. What do I tend to develop the bishop here in this position. So let's pin the knight. A pin means I'm pinning the knight to the queen, which has now been blocked by the bishop. The can move now. So it could move e4 on the next move. Let's just develop the other knight. I need to move faster. That's going to be the hardest thing for me, talking and trying to explain the moves as well as moving fast. My opponent's moving very fast here. So yeah, you want to develop your pieces, control the centre, and then get your king to safety, which black has now done. So I'm going to try and do the same in the next couple of moves. So at this point, it looks like I've locked out my bishop. But in that context, in that scenario, what a lot of people tend to do is I would just get rid of my dark square bishop now and then put as many pawns as I can on dark squares, which will give my light square bishop more scope, more range. So let's just develop this bishop. If pawn takes here, I could either take with the knight or the bishop. That pawn takes. I want to keep my pawns together here. That's something that is useful for further down the line in the game. I could take this pawn. That would still leave me with three connected pawns here, and then I would have two in the centre. But once they take there, this one's going to be pretty loose. So I think I'll just take with the knight. Now let's see if they take with. Okay, so they're attacking the bishop. So this is where there's two options. So I can take, because I've got plenty of pawns on dark squares. So my dark square bishop is it's not going to be much use. If I bring my dark square bishop back, like, what is it attacking? What is it threatening on this line when their king's over here? So as well, I've got to think, if I do take, their bishop comes here, and what is it attacking there on that? So let's just bring it back, because I don't want their bishop to open up. I don't want to give their bishop this full line of sight across there. Okay. Knight's now under attack, so I've got a couple of choices. Can't go here. For those who are wondering why I can't go there, they would then push their pawn, and my bishop and my knight would be forked. Now I could just go here, and if they take my pawn, it's covered 2 times. But it looks like we're losing a little bit of control of the centre, if I'm totally honest. Yeah, so I expected that. Only move really. Could bring my bishop back this way. That would still keep me on the line of sight, to stop the king getting out of this square. Yeah, I don't know if this opening, if I've played this fantastically well. We'll see in the review afterwards. The only thing I'd say about black is their central control is good, but they haven't developed that many pieces yet. I'm wondering if they're going to bring the bishop out here now and attack my queen. Yeah, maybe should have covered that. Maybe should have played h3 at some point. Because that's, yeah, looks like a good square for their bishop right there. And I maybe would then have to play f3, but it's never nice, never a good thing to push pawns in front of your king. So yeah, I play a lot of bullet, so I'm a little bit out of practice with rapid. That does not look like a good move. Because I think bishop to g4 was a very good move for them. I don't know what I would have done there. I think I would have been under a lot of pressure there. But now I could take, but then that gives them momentum, development. Could just bring this knight to d4, threatening that bishop that's just moved, and it also gets my knight away from any danger if they take. So let's. But then I want to cover this bishop move. To be fair, this covers it as well because I could just bring the knight back there. So let's do that. Let's play knight to d4. Again, losing a lot of time here because I'm having to explain my moves and thought process. So it's not easy. So I respect a lot of respect to those people who do that. Those YouTubers already accomplished out there. You might not see, but I've got Levy's book behind me, Gotham Chess. I'll be investing in the next one when it's released here in the UK. Yeah, that's who I watch a lot. So this is not a partnership or a plug or anything, but those who are just getting into chess, or if you're looking to improve, that's the channel you want to be watching. So that was expected. I did say that was a good move, but now the fact that I brought that knight there means I can just block with the knight, and then I don't have to disturb my pawns. What happens if I move and then they push? I feel like we are under a little bit of pressure here. Could I just push the pawn now? I don't want to make this pawn weak on e3. Um, oh, best position here, guys. Let's push the pawn. I know it's risky, very risky, but now I can bring the knight back if they take, and I've got two knights here actually that square. So now might be a good time to get queen out of trouble. Could I move? This is a prophylactic move. So no, actually no. Let's just castle. Let's just castle. And that adds another piece to the protection of the pawn on f3. So a little bit worried about the pawn on e3. That is potentially a bit weak in the future. So one thing you've got to think about when you're playing chess is when a piece moves, what was it protecting, or what can it now see? So that's something you've always got to be thinking about. So now can I get this knight back over? No. Do you know what I'm thinking? Let me. And if they take my knight, I can now take with the pawn on e3. Which does mean I've got double pawns, but I'm not too worried. So if they take here with the knight, okay. Now now we might have a tactic here. So if I take with this bishop, they can't take with the knight because that would leave their bishop hanging. But if I just take here with the pawn, they can just take this. If I take with the bishop here, sorry, they can just take this pawn. So I might have to play this one first. I don't think there's any tricks. I don't think they can just sack the knight for this bishop. It doesn't really lead to anything. They could start putting pressure on this pawn though. But this is where I might be glad I didn't get rid of that dark square bishop. Maybe bring it back. Yeah, okay, so they're putting more pressure on, but now I can bring that bishop back. It does add another level of protection, which is very useful. So we are still a couple of minutes behind. So from this point, I might have to start moving a bit quicker. But we are technically a pawn up. Now, I think this would be a fair trade. What they could do is take with this knight, and I take with my bishop, and they can just take with the queen because my queen is pinned to this pawn. I think that would still leave me a pawn up though, and I would also have two pawns in the centre. So I wouldn't be too worried if they did that. It's a nice little trick, nice little move. Okay, they just bring it back. Now I need to get this queen away from this pin, but I still need to protect this pawn. Although the queen is the leading attacker, so they're not just going to sack the queen for this bishop. So I think we're okay. I've got pressure on here now, pressure on the pawn on b7. I'm out of this pin from this bishop, so that's just attacking a pawn, which is no threat. This dark square bishop has come in really handy. I'm glad I kept it now. So there's all these things you to be thinking about. It's very hard. So I need to develop these rooks. Now the only thing with bringing this one over to d1 is I still got this nagging feeling this bishop's going to be powerful. So what about this open file? So a file is a row or almost. So there's nothing on this file, C file. And I could even try and double up. Gotta move faster. Come on, Matty. Come on, Matty. Gotta move faster now. So they could. I'm worried about this move, bishop to f6, because that puts pressure on here. But then I could just slide rook over. I think we're okay. I think we're okay. Their light squared bishop is not really doing anything. Mine's looking pretty good because it's stopping the king from moving to h7. So the only other issue is time, unfortunately. And this is something I'm going to have to get used to. Okay, let's double them up. And let's. Now I could take with the pawn if they. No, no, no. Yeah. Okay. It's a fair trade. Now they're just going to bring the other rook and try and trade everything off. This laptop's a bit slow. What's happened? Okay, yeah, they've just brought the other one. Got to start moving quick. I know I've said earlier you shouldn't really be pushing pawns in front of your king, but I'm getting close to being under time pressure now. So this is where maybe my bullet experience might come in handy. So if they move that back, I think I just take this pawn on f7's a little bit weak, but and it would mean if they move the bishop and I take it, they've had to double their pawn, so that might have been a good move. Okay, I didn't see that, but I can just bring the bishop back, and I can't check there because my queen covers it. So, and I can just that pawn's under pressure there. I could just move my rook back. Now, here's a trick. So if they take with their rook, trying to deflect my queen away from the d1 square. I mean, it's not that big of a threat anyway. I just move my bishop back to f1, but I think I might take with the pawn if they do that, just to stop any tricks. And I'm still looking at that pawn on f7 for black because my queen is eyeing that up. Okay, we're only a minute and a half behind now. I've got a pass pawn here. That means, for those who are not sure, a pass pawn is a pawn that's got no other pawns stopping it from getting to the other side. If I can somehow start pushing these two pawns in the centre, we're looking good. So what about just bringing queen back here and starting to push? Because these two bishops are looking good. Yeah, I think we just have to start pushing. And if I go push again to c5, takes. I mean, they can't do that, so I would still have this pass pawn. Okay, getting a bit tense now, getting a bit nervous here. First rapid game I've played for a few weeks. Okay, I don't have these stop these pawns from going. These two bishops are looking absolutely gorgeous in terms of escorting these pawns up here. This one is not doing anything, but yeah, okay, well, that doesn't do anything. I think I just go for it. Push this one. Yeah. Now what do you do? This bishop, this light squared bishop is preventing you from. Now, they could just go there. Now, what if I bring this queen here? Any checks I can just easily cover, and then you've got how you're going to protect your bishop. I'm just going to go. I know they've got a check on a1, but I just bring the bishop back. Not sure how they stop this pass pawn from getting up the board. But I've got to move fast. 42 seconds. Okay, I've got to go. They're probably going to sack their bishop here. Yeah, not sure what else they have. Then they're probably going to win the pawn on A2 by checking. Yeah, and now I block. Yeah, but then they are covering that one. That was an interesting move. Why did they not take my pawn? Now I've got another pass pawn. They're gonna, and I can block now here. So I don't. Yeah, there's no more checks. There's no more checks. We just need to move faster. In fact, let's give them a check. Let's go here. Oh, 15 seconds. I don't know if it's going to be long enough. Start pushing the pawn. Push the P. Go. Yeah, and that's fine. That's so fine. 9 seconds. They're just going to win on time, aren't they? That's so disappointing. 6 seconds. Yeah, this doesn't help that I've got this laptop that's so old, it's so rubbish. So we've lost on time, which is always a bit disappointing. I mean, yeah, that is a winning end game for White. It has to be. Um, that's a shame. So we didn't win the first one, 17 rating points by being slow. So that's very disappointing. We'll have a look at the review, um, and then we'll leave it there for this first game, this first episode. As you can see, it's very slow. I need to maybe look at my settings. Come on. Yeah, I'm trying to wonder if I could have done anything majorly different. Wasn't a huge fan of the way I set up my opening in terms of the central control and started to come under a bit of pressure from black. But I think we got our way out of it quite well, and then definitely got into a better position for the mid game. So while this is loading, can just waffle on for a little bit longer. Um, yeah, so chess is there's three parts. There's three parts to a chess game. You've got your opening stage, the mid game, and then your end game, like Avengers Endgame. Um, so in terms of if I'm breaking it down into those three sections, I think the mid game was where I got a winning position. If I had more time, I think we easily win that, guys. If I'm honest. Um, I mean, what was it? I had one pass pawn, so they had two more pawns, but I had two extra bishops. So they would have had to at some point they would have had to sack the queen to stop me promoting. Um, so yes, very disappointed. That should have been the first win, first game, first win. But we'll see where we potentially made any mistakes. But we had a winning position. We just didn't have the time. I'm just going to try and click game review because it seems to be taking forever. At the moment, I'm not signed up. I'm not a diamond member or anything. But see how this first video goes because you get one review per day. So if I start having to make a couple videos per day or do 2 or 3 games a day, I'm going to have to make that investment. It does seem worth it for those who've not had it before. I did have a diamond membership for a while. Wow. Okay, 84%. 84% accuracy in first rapid game for a while. That's pretty good. And as you can see from this chart here, as I suspected, we were slightly behind maybe in the opening. Black was slightly in front, maybe like 0.5, 0.5 advantage, but then, yeah, 0.3, which is not a great deal. And then we started to really improve our position. There's a few great moves in there by the looks of it. No brilliance, unfortunately. There is one red there, which could be a blunder from me. No, it's a blunder from the opponent. So I had two misses, which, for those who've not played before or not reviewed a game, if you've got two misses, it means you had two opportunities to win or get into an extremely winning position. It doesn't necessarily mean you've missed checkmate. Because there were no opportunities for checkmate there. But three great moves, so let's have a look. Let's go.
Fighting for the center and opening up your pieces for development. I like it.
Turn down that. Okay, I can do the explaining part. I don't need you. So we start with a Queen's Gambit, which is what I play with white. Nothing majorly wrong so far. So I wonder if I did make the right move, keeping that dark squared bishop in the end. So best move there. Not the greatest move there. Maybe could have just developed my bishop to e2. Yeah, you commit the opponent. Okay, so I shouldn't have let them attack my bishop on g5 apparently. But that's quite common. Taking back with a knight is fine. Moving back to the best move, so I made the right choice apparently. Not taking. They play the best move. That's fine. Moving the bishop that way is okay, but I'm down 0.76 now, so I'm almost down a pawn. Like I said, the opening wasn't great, and I remember saying, I did say this, that wasn't a great move. That wasn't a very good move with their bishop. I did say that it was a better move to move to g4. So I'm not bad, guys. I know roughly what I'm saying. Yeah, not the best move. I did say as well I should have maybe covered that bishop move. But okay, that's fine. That's the best move. Taking there's okay. Yeah, it wasn't the wrong move to get that pawn. Great move. So I did say they had a tactic of, because their bishop is pinning my queen to that pawn, they had a tactic where they can trade everything, but I actually come out slightly in front, so yeah, and there we go. Bringing that bishop back, I needed that, because I needed that defense for that pawn on d4, otherwise we're just all square. So as you can see from the evaluation, we're technically pawn up, which is what we are. So I'm good job I can cling on to that. Okay, so we're getting slightly further ahead now, and I did see this tactic, but they didn't go for the queen takes. What happens? Can I check what happens if they do? That is the best move. Yeah, that is the best move, them taking with the queen. But they didn't do it. They just moved back, and now I think the reason they're so far behind is look at their bishops. I know the light square bishop is pinning that pawn to my queen, but as soon as I move the queen, I mean, what's that light square bishop looking at? What's their dark square bishop looking at? So my bishops are far better here. So one thing, if we're looking at, if one way to evaluate a chess game is, I suppose you could call it board vision. So, like, what are your pieces actually covering? How much of the board do you control? And when we compare bishops here, I mean, this dark square bishop it's looking at nothing. Looking at nothing either way. Now I've got light square bishop on eyes on this. As soon as I move this pawn, this dark square bishop's got eyes on this. So my bishops are fantastic here. I think that's why the advantage is so good. Now that's a great move. And yeah, so it's because I've now got my queen out of that pin. So I can now start to attack that bishop, which I didn't do straight away. I think it took me a couple of moves to do that. And yeah, unfortunately, with time, my opponent started not making the best moves, and I just didn't have the time. So I should have just attacked that bishop straight away. But instead, I wanted to take the open file, which when you watch a lot of these chess YouTubers and pros and everything, and it can't be that bad a move taking an open file, but yeah. So there's the first miss because I basically and I've just spotted why it's an even better move than I thought. Because if they move their bishop back, let me just show you. If they move their bishop back, I can take it for free because the great move that I had earlier, where I just moved the queen to a I didn't really plan that far ahead. I just thought, let's move my queen to a more open square, to a more aggressive square, and look, it's pinning that pawn to the king, so that pawn can't move. So yeah, I didn't see that, which is unfortunate. But let's see. So they got the king out of the way of that pin, which is a good move. Develop the rooks, fine, but again, I could have just attacked the queen, but that looked like just a one mover. Bring both rooks, best move. Should have recaptured with the pawn, apparently. Hard to say that's a bad move. That would have been a nice tactic. I didn't see that, guys. So I could have just sacked my queen, and if they leave their rook hanging, it's checkmate because of my bishop. That's a nice move. I'm a bit disappointed I didn't see that because we love sacking a queen or a rook, especially if you watch a lot of Gotham chess. So I could have sacked the queen, but I didn't. Okay, we move on. Now I start attacking the bishop, and they just I think maybe they thought, oh, well, it's fine because I've got a couple minutes on this guy. So I take the pawn, bishop. They check, block. That's a great move. Now they take. Now I take with the pawn, and now we're fine. We're fine. Yeah, not the best move there. I wonder why. Okay, they could have. Oh, okay, they could have sacked their bishop and they win my bishop. Missed a chance to win a pawn. That's fine. Again, yeah. So then I just started pushing, and they had to sack. That's fine. Yeah, I could have probably just checked though. Now I'm having to block the other pawn. Block with that bishop, perfect. Now I've got a great bishop there. Now what could I have done better from here? I know I only had 20 seconds. So that's not the best move. It's not a blunder or anything. Yeah, I just started trying to push. They could have just won the pawn there. Yeah. What could I have done? There's no, yeah. Unfortunately, their king is very safe there. Could I have queen? What happens here? That's a blunder because I'm just okay. So that was a bad move. Right. So yeah, we just ran out of time. It's not a draw. I'm in a very, very, very winning position. So that's unfortunate, guys. But we take the positives. 84% accuracy on my first rapid game of this series. But I know now for the next game, I just need to move a bit faster. So that'll be it for this first one. Yeah, I'd love to have a bit of have people liking and giving this channel a chance. I'd like to think I showed some good understanding. Explained my moves. That's the reason I didn't get the time though. So yeah, it's going to be tricky getting used to explaining my thought process and everything while also moving pretty quick. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you do, please like, and yeah, let's see if we can get this. Let's see if we can get this channel off the ground. Let's see if we can hit 2,000. It's going to be extremely hard. So yeah, join me on the next one.